Do you want to know what actually makes NattyNatt good? It's Rengar, bro. The champion is just so broken, eh? Like, anyone can pick it up. 80% win rate to high challenger career easy. The reason this dude is so insane is because he does something that only the top junglers in the world actually do. This allows him to win games even when he's not playing Rengar, and by the end of this video, you will have this power too. In this game, after they kill the enemy Ezreal, what should N squared do? Shove the next wave? Try kill Leona? Of course not. He should recall and play for his Gromp. Why is that? Because if he stays any longer on bot side of the map, the enemy jungler might take his respawning Gromp. So Natty pings on my way to that resource he wants to play for, spending another 10 seconds shoving this wave or hoping Leona has short-term memory loss so she jumps in 1v2 is not worth. Why not? Because you are giving up more golden experience than what you're getting. Where you need to be on the map is dictated by those jungle resources that are spawning in the near future. In this game, Natty does red buff, but why not do Krugs as well? I thought resetting your camps was hella important. If you're playing in NA, you can probably get away with it, but not against junglers who see the game like this. Natty wants this top crab more than he does Krugs. Why? Because the enemy jungler has their own set of Krugs. So if we are going to create a jungle diff, there has to actually be a difference when we press tab and look at that CS. Yes, you might do your Krugs a little bit later, boohoo. But is it worth it when we're not only gaining a crab and the golden experience that gives, but also denying that same golden experience from the enemy jungler? Yes. As soon as Natty knows what he's going to do, he, on my way, pings. Do you guys see the trend here? And this lets his teammates know what their jungler wants to do. A lot of the time, this means your teammates will actually be in positions to move and help you rather than being on the other side of the map in Narnia. In this bronze game, after taking the enemy jungler's Gromp, Viego runs back to his side of the jungle. If I pause it and enlarge the minimap, what should we play for here? What is that resource we want to coordinate not only ourselves around, but our teammates as well? If you didn't say Baron, then please actually get real coaching at Eagz.gg. Now, what has NattyNatt done in the example so far when he knows where he is going to be in the future? He on my way pings. Let's see if Viego does it in this game. Spoiler alert, he doesn't ping the Baron once before it spawns. And therefore, is it any surprise when we look at the minimap and see his Zeri and Thresh bot lane? No. As a jungler, you need an orientation. You cannot just click around the map like a headless chicken hoping the game works out. And if you don't, your teammates are going to join you in the headless chicken department. Now, on my way pinging is great, but we can add a bit more assertiveness so we really encourage our teammates to play with us. In this game, Natty is doing Atakan, and while he is doing it, he knows what he wants to play for after Atakan, which is it the top wave and tower? Is it the enemy Krugs? It's Dragon. And because it will be spawning in 30 seconds when Natty finishes Atakan, that is the ideal timing, right, to recall and then run there, because it takes roughly 30 seconds to base and get back to the middle of the map. So before on my way pinging, what does he do? He actually pings that resource by pressing tab and then left clicking the resource at the top of his screen. This gives your team a bit of extra information because now they know when it spawns, not just you. And when we watch this, is it any surprise to see 5 members of the blue team near the dragon pit? No, this is not a coincidence. This is just challenger jungling and challenger communication. In this game, I'm recalling to not only spend the 2,000 gold I have, which obviously means something, I'm really recalling to run at a resource that the enemy jungler could be at. So if I let this play out, what could the enemy Poppy be playing for here? Grubs is definitely a good shout, but with the wards we have and the jungle diff that exists at the moment, I'm sure Poppy doesn't want anything to do with Grubs. So I'm thinking she's going to be somewhere else, which is where her blue buff. Good job. And what do I do when I know that's what I'm playing for? I ping on my way and give the enemy jungler another gray screen. Now, even though my teammates are not near me at the start of this fight, because I pinged what my intention was well before this reality, by the end of it, they are here to pick up the scraps. Dirty dogs. In this game, Natty initially clicked towards his raptors, but he's actually going to click somewhere else. Where do you think that is? Doing raptors is fine. Pinging Atakan that is spawning in 20 seconds is also fine. But why wait when the enemy blue buff is spawning and their jungler is likely to be on it? So he changes his pathing here and on my way pings. If it wasn't Poppy hitting the deck, it would definitely be Kiana. Now I could end the clip here, but it would be quite disingenuous. Why? Because Natty actually dies. And it's testament to how all of these high challenger Korean players see the map. They know as well as Natty that their blue buff is spawning, and they know that Rengar is a champion that can ambush push any of them at any time. In this gold game, the Gwen finishes Dragon. Now, what is the next big thing on the minimap? You could argue that her own red buff is important, but there is something bigger here. That is Atacon. So once you have figured out what your upcoming destination is, the goal now is to arrive at that destination as strong as possible. So Gwen has about 30 seconds to accrue as much gold as possible before needing to recall to then arrive at Atacon on time. So I told my student if I were him, I would farm wolves and then raptors and then Krugs, recall for a Seeker's Arm Guard, and then run towards Atacon. Instead, the Gwen farms wolves and then Gromp, and because of this awkward pathing, she then has to travel back over her footprints towards her top camps, thereby losing time, and then does red buff and Krugs. The game time is now 20 minutes and 10 seconds. It is critical to get this timing right. Not at Atacon, just general timing for resources, because if the enemy team in this game decides to do the Atacon, you can either be in a position to fight them on it and maybe catch people out as they move there, or you will be as strong as possible to make a play on the other side of the map. Unfortunately, the Gwen now cannot recall because she would lose both sides of the map. Not only is Atacon going to get taken, but the enemy Camille would get this top tower and more waves as well. In this game, Natty suddenly realizes that his red buff is missing, and then the enemy Silas shows ganking Bolt with blue buff, red buff, and level 3. This means the enemy jungler did his own blue buff and then ran straight to Natty's red and then did Krugs. This means that Natty's Krugs are going to be on a bit of a random timer here, and Silas will have that timer, so there is nothing stopping him from playing for that next respawn of Krugs. Thankfully, Natty's teammates get vision of the camp and thereby give him a 10-second timer for his next Krugs, so he immediately pivots down to his bot camps when he sees this. Why is that? Because Silas can be here. That resource is under immediate threat, so Natty needs to be there to contest them. Instead, he decides to do Raptors because Silas could also contest these first, and Raptors are also very easy to take for any jungler. So Natty secures his Raptors and then realizes as he moves to Krugs and Eagz them that Silas is on Krugs. What does he do when he knows the enemy jungler could be here? He communicates that information by pinging, and Silas dies. The reason we ping on my way, and that's the bare minimum by the way, is because we are anticipating the enemy jungler to be near that resource we want to play for. They have the same minimap and therefore time as we do, so there's a very good chance they are thinking the same way. In this game, as I am running out of base, I realize that the much weaker Graves is likely to be on his red buff when it spawns, so I want to knock him out of that location. So I ping the enemy red buff by pressing tab and then left clicking on that resource so my teammates know what my play is. But all of a sudden, I see that they have this entrance warded. Now, do I still make this play? No. Even though Shaco can take over my mental, I keep him at bay and make the sensible decision to just leave and do this crab instead. Now, as I'm doing this crab, what is the next big thing on the minimap? I couldn't do his red buff, so again, what is the next thing? You could say Dragon, you could think about ganking bot lane, and if you thought of either of those moves, it's time to play a new role. Doing Dragon here is super risky because of the enemy bot and mid prio, and ganking bot lane when the enemy Sivir and Nico might have all their summoner spells. Oh, it just sounds FF. Not only that, Graves might take my top camps, and why would I work so hard to jungle diff Graves just to give it back to him? So I know that I am playing for Grubs in the near future. So as I finish crab, my goal is to get to Grubs on time. So I skip Gromp and I do wolves, raptors, so I am there at that big resource when it spawns. Timing is king. In this Emerald game, what is the next big resource on the map? I guess Fiddlesticks' red buff is one thing, but after that, Grubs. Fiddlesticks has his ultimate at the ready, so if we get to that resource on time, which is where the enemy jungler might be, we could turn this game around and get a kill or two, and the biggest resource on the map as well. So after Krugs, what should Fiddlesticks do? If he recalls, the enemy jungler might farm at least 2 of the Grubs by the time he gets there, and we would be losing the Atacon stack, and that's not good. So we should just run straight to Grubs after Krugs. Unfortunately, Fiddlesticks does Krugs and then hangs around bot lane when his support is not even here. This is a big loss because not only do we get nothing on this side of the map, we also lose something top side of the map. And if you are actually going to start climbing instead of waddling around the map, make sure to like the video. In this game, Natty recalls after Gromp. Why does he recall? We recall to run at a potentially contested resource. In other words, a resource the enemy jungler might be at, so we are as strong as possible. Is there a chance the enemy jungler will be at this crab in 30 seconds? Absolutely. Can Natty buy items that will make a difference for this fight? Yes. So he recalls, pings on my way, there's a surprise, and is in position to fight for the crab as strong as he can be. This is literally the same as every clip I have shown you of Natty and me. I am just substituting the resource for another one. So instead of saying crab, I'm saying grubs. Instead of saying grubs, I'm saying Atakan. The timing is always the same. The resource just might be different. Don't be shy.